OMG BBG! Yo BBGs, welcome to another epic battle. Today we're going to be discussing launchers.
There are so many different types of Beyblade Burst launchers nowadays. Some from Hasbro, some from Takara Tomy. So many different options.
A lot of people are torn. They're like, yo, do I need a Takara Tomy launcher? Are all the Hasbro ones really bad, or can I survive? This launcher right here, we just unboxed it recently. The Riptide 4 set included this white and gold Riptide blast launcher, and it was a nice throwback. We're like, hey, this Hasbro launcher actually isn't as bad as I remember it to be.
Yeah, we'll give you an overview of all the major launcher releases for Beyblade Burst.
It'll be nice to actually use all of the Hasbro launchers from the very beginning back to actually experience that. So hopefully this will be a nice guide for you to find out if your Hasbro launchers are actually competitive enough to go up against some of those users that use strictly Takara Tomy launchers.
Before we get started with the battle, make sure you guys are subscribed and click on that bell notification icon so you guys don't miss the next video. Check us out on Instagram at Geek Dosage and on TikTok at BeybladeGeeks Official. Let the launcher marathon begin.
Alright, starting off with the most basic and iconic launchers from both brands.
Okay, so mine here is the light launcher from Takara Tomy here.
Yeah, it came with like pretty much all the standard bays back in dual layer and all that stuff.
Yeah, but Hasbro actually in ProSeries took this design.
Exactly,
right?
So this is ProSeries right here.
Hasbro.
It took years to get this launcher, but it's still one of the most basic launchers. I would say this is the most iconic Hasbro launchers right here. So Hasbro versions of the light launcher. This is like the most basic one that came with like first gen Beyblade Burst. Then you have like these recolors basically. They all launched in the exact same way. They feel the same, they just look a little bit different. I think this was like from Evolution, no GT. And then we have like Turbo, and then this one was like, we're just seeing this in Surge now. But yeah. Wow, just night and day.
Okay, so let's start off the first battle with our most basic launcher.
Okay, first round, let's give this a try.
Okay.
Oh my god, can't even hang on to this. Where do I hold? Oh my god.
So at least it's a Takara Tomy one, a little basic, but it's pretty good.
Functional at least.
Functional light launcher.
3, 2, 1, go shoot! I had nowhere to hold. The launch so light.
It's called the light launcher.
Alright, so how did it feel for you with Fafnir?
Yo, honestly, the light launcher from Takara Tomy is pretty decent. Like, I can actually live with this as my main launcher. To be honest with you, it does the job, and it's pretty satisfying, very consistent. Sometimes all you need is consistency.
Yeah, well, you definitely don't get consistency with this guy. There's like nowhere to hold. This was first generation. Alright, you won that one.
Alright, sounds good.
Okay, you know what? Let's switch bays to make it fair. So I'm gonna switch over to this one right here that is left spin capable.
So earlier I said I could actually live with this launcher forever, but I guess it's only a left spinning launcher, so I do need something different to launch the right spin. So grab something equivalent to that, another light launcher, but this one's the right spinning version.
Alright, will this be any better?
Yeah, the Phoenix color is really nice. What do you guys think?
3, 2, 1. So now, is it the bay or is it the launcher, which is the biggest difference?
Yo, so when Takara Tomy makes these launchers, they always make it so it's only like a single spin direction. Until you have to upgrade your launchers to get something better. But for Hasbro, your launcher actually came
dual spin,
both left and right.
That's after the first gen. First gen was like just this.
Right.
And that was like a tie, right?
Okay, I think so.
I think it was a tie. But like, and then you upgrade a little bit. Do you guys remember this? It's like the Supergrip or whatever. It's essentially the exact same, just slightly bigger, so you can grip it. And they charged you separately for this, which is like, oh my god, I just couldn't believe it. And these ones came out way later. Beyblade Burst, ProSeries, right? Like we mentioned earlier. So I'll be using these two for the next battle.
Okay, well, for mine, I do have a string launcher from Takara Tomy. They released this like quite early. It's like either right spin or left spin. And then earlier in the like Beyblade Burst game, I guess, we also got the dual slot light launcher. So the LR light launcher, that one's pretty sweet too. Some of them come with a longer cord, so you get more spin. So yeah, I guess I'll be using these two.
For the longest time, we used those string launchers from Takara Tomy. Alright, a little bit better, a little more space to hold on to now.
Yeah. Well, for mine, I can actually use extensions too. I can use grips and attachments and stuff like that. But I'm not doing it this time. Oh man, do you guys remember the Bay Logger? Which is now decommissioned because the app no longer works with it, but it's a nice artifact. Let me just click it in actually, just for this video, just for this battle, for nostalgia's sake. Gives me better grip too. All right, 3, 2, 1, go shoot!
Okay, this is definitely a bit of an upgrade. It does feel better. Can launch a little bit harder.
Go Valkyrie!
This might be a little unfair because I'm using a DB Bay versus your Cho Z Bay.
Right.
But I do have a way worse launcher though.
Oh, so, you know, just because you're using a Takara Tomy string launcher doesn't mean you're always gonna win.
Beat by Supergrip.
Hey, the Bay is like freaking 2 generations behind, man.
Alright, let's switch launchers again. ProSeries one, light launcher, copying Takara Tomy. So much better than the other ones.
Yo, your Hasbro ProSeries launcher is the same as my basic Takara Tomy launcher.
Exactly. It took years to get here, guys. Years.
For this battle, I'll be using the light launcher LR with the longer ripcord. This one's pretty nice. So I can go right or left spin. I'm going to use a new Bay.
3, 2, 1, shoot! Oh, that felt so much better, guys. Upgrade to this if you can. If you're stuck using the Hasbro light launchers, try and get out of that as soon as you can.
Well, technically, if you're playing with ProSeries, you should be using just ProSeries launchers. If you're using Speedstorm, you shouldn't be using that one, according to, you know, the official way.
But you want to be upgrading. Oh, nice!
Because they are cross-compatible.
You have to be careful with all of these light launchers, though. If your Bay is too big from Takara Tomy, it'll get stuck and it'll actually fall off.
Okay, time for another launcher switch. I'm using the Takara Tomy sword launcher, one of my personal favorites.
It was so good when it came out, and then Hasbro made their own versions, the Blade launcher, but they also didn't come out for like quite a long time afterwards.
Yeah, I would say for the Takara Tomy one, both of the sides of the ripcord comes with like teeth, so it feels very satisfying. Whereas the Hasbro one actually only comes in one side, so when you rip it, you do need to kind of position it perfectly aligned. Otherwise, it doesn't feel as satisfying. Like it doesn't launch as quick.
And on top of that, you don't have performance difference too by flipping the actual blades over. Sword launcher versus sword launcher.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, that felt good. Usually when we're doing our testing in unboxings with like Hasbro launchers, we're usually like, oh yeah, these really don't feel that good compared to Takara Tomy. But man, when you use them back to back, this is such a huge upgrade, guys.
For sure.
And look, we won.
Well, I guess
it's also the Bay.
It's also the Bay, but you know what? At least I felt very satisfied when I was launching this, so that's all what counts. Alright, and then the next launcher switch, we have the digital sword launcher. So this one actually shows you your RPM when you launch it. And in my opinion, it's not as good or as satisfying as the previous sword launcher. Not as consistent, but still pretty cool.
I liked this one because it had a really big grip. This one was like bigger than the original, right? Which is nice. And then Hasbro, they brought out the Riptide Blast launchers that you can use to measure your launch power with the needle here. That was kind of like their equivalent to measuring your launch power. It doesn't look like a sword by any means, but this is pretty much the equivalent for that. And once again, these feel pretty good compared to the original Hasbro light launchers. 3, 2, 1,
Oh, and I guess I didn't launch that great that round, but my RPM is
2,901. Not too bad.
No, that's 1,062.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's back.
This
oh, it's
way.
backwards. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That was a bad launch.
Wow. And then for me, look at that. I barely got any grip from that World Spriggan. Okay, next launcher that I'm gonna use is the Dual Threat launcher from Hasbro. And wow, this one, when it came out, it was super hyped. It was a standalone launcher that you can buy, and it's probably, I would say, the most popular one to use from Hasbro.
Yeah, it would be
nice. Launcher.
It would be nice to see Hasbro come up with more standalone releases for launchers.
Like if they did an actual string launcher that was a sparking launcher, like that'd be sick, right? The string's not very long
just
for
by
this.
itself or something, you know.
But yeah, probably the best one from Hasbro.
But Takara Tomy, of course, have the equivalents. And that one is the I was gonna say dual threat launcher, but it's just the LR string launcher. So the way it works is you unlock it and you can twist the mode left and right to switch your spin direction.
All right, okay. Wow, the feel is just so much better.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Still don't get that satisfying sound that you get with Takara Tomy when using the dual threat, but it's a big upgrade.
Well, I'm using an electric driver, but yeah, with the Takara Tomy string launchers, there's also other varieties like longer ripcord, longer string, just like a bunch more like customizations or releases that they do. But this is just like a standard one here.
Can I do it? Oh, y'all, I almost did it.
Okay, you
almost did
it's close. Okay, next launcher switch, we are talking about the sparking launcher. So this is pretty, so it sparks when you launch. It's pretty cool, like real sparks, not like no batteries required.
And that one, there's a long version too. Hasbro released this as the equivalent, so it is like a sparking launcher as well, but you get a ripcord. Look at this. You get sparks too, and you actually get quite a bit as well. Sometimes you even get more sparks than Takara Tomy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but you are just like kind of limited by this string. Like the string, of course, is like a little bit longer. It's nice, but definitely not as crazy sturdy as like the shark launcher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Riptide and everything like that, like you actually get a better quality ripcord. So this one here, it seems like they put in so much effort for the sparks, they kind of cheaped out on the rest of it. It has the similar shape to the blade launcher, but you get a worse ripcord. Overall though, feels pretty good to launch. Let's test it out.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go shoot.
That felt really solid. For a ripcord launcher, this one actually is pretty good.
Yeah, and you also get to use both left and right spin on this one. Whereas the Takara Tomy one, you only have one direction for the sparking launcher. You can either get the left sparking launcher or the right sparking launcher.
Can I do it? Can the Hasbro sparking launcher do it?
Of course it can, man!
No, it can't. Lucifer's too good.
Yeah, I would like to thank my Takara Tomy launcher for my win, but it's actually all the drift driver.
Let's switch base, then we'll find out for sure.
Last but not least, Takara Tomy side, we have like custom DB launchers. So this one you can actually like change out the spin unit, gear unit. So a bunch of things you can like do with this. Very extra, but also very cool. And
this particular setup is the latest and greatest one. You get this with the Overdrive SP set. We don't have a quad drive or a dynamite battle equivalent from Hasbro, so we are going to be using this.
What is that?
Precision Strike Launcher. This came out during the Slingshot days, I think. So yeah, this one is like an automatic thing basically. It's almost like a hands-free approach.
Yeah.
And Hasbro does things like this. So this is a right and left spin. So this side's right, this side here is left. You put the cap on one side to cover it up and you use the other end and you put your bay on and crank it non-stop and then you use the trigger to fire. So although it is very handy, it's also super weak.
Yeah.
But it's a cool concept.
Yeah, even Takara Tomy never made it, so it's special, okay?
So I'm gonna take my Roar Bahamut and then I just crank like this a billion times to really wind it up. And then yeah, then we just aim and launch with the trigger.
Okay, let's do it. Test it out. 3, 2, 1, go shoot! That doesn't seem very strong.
It's not strong at all. I cranked it maybe about 10 times, but let's see. This combination might still be able to get me a win because Roar Bahamut is actually super good.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, it's not all about the fancy launchers with all the longest string.
Yeah.
Because maybe you just don't need that much spin.
The bay matters too. But yeah, check this out. Do you guys have one of these? Super convenient, but wow. Pretty weak launcher.
Yo, if I lose to you, I'm gonna cry. Come on,
I got this. Come on, Bahamut. You can do it.
Yes!
Oh, you lucky.
The latest and greatest. We'll never lose.
If I cranked this one extra time, you would have lost.
No, I don't think so. Alright, so that was kind of just like a brief showcase of all the major launcher releases from Takara Tomy and from Hasbro. So if you're shopping for a launcher, you kind of now know which one is good, which one's not, and maybe which one you want to pick up.
Our recent unboxing of this particular launcher pretty much like inspired this video because we're thinking, wow, like who actually uses Hasbro launchers when you have Takara Tomy launchers on hand? But now after trying all of them out at the exact same time, which is something that we've never done before, there's actually a very big difference when it comes to like these original ones and like these upgrades. So yeah, honestly, if you do have the opportunity to, if you don't have Takara Tomy, try and upgrade to one of these Riptide launchers or a Blade launcher, or I would say even the dual threat, and the sparking launcher is also a really good choice too. So I would say these 4 really good ones. I would say the top 2, these 2 right here. Exactly, so hopefully this helps you out a little bit for all you Hasbro users to find out which one is actually a good one to use. If you have these 2, you're actually fairly competitive against some of these older Takara Tomy ones.
So that's it for this video. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and as always, geeks out!